Well, markets improving slightly over the last few minutes. It actually was down less than 300 points. We got excited. A rally? No, not quite so much. We're still down 309 points on the Dow. As you can see, the sell-off goes on. But there was also some breaking news and market news out of Sin City within the first hour, in fact, of the SALT hedge fund conference that kicks off today in Las Vegas. Liz Claman, our very own, live at the SALT conference in Vegas. Liz, former Fed Chair Ben Bernanke already making some ripples in the news today, right?
Well, he spoke. He was the opening kickoff person, and it was a big deal. There are more than 1,000 people here, all from the hedge fund and financial world, but then we also have some big CEOs. But here's what Ben Bernanke said. There is reasonable concern that the James Comey, Michael Flynn firings will interfere with President Trump's tax and infrastructure agenda. And he said, I'm actually not counting on tax changes or infrastructure plan to come through this year, which is interesting because he said this all before the market opened. And we were very interested because at the point that we started to look at this and say, well, we don't usually hear the former Federal Reserve chief be this honest about things. He said he did not anticipate how the Russia situation would cause this kind of uncertainty. Back after the election, he did feel, Ashley, that perhaps that so-called Trump trade was a little bit overdone, the reflation trade. He said that Donald Trump was really coming more to the center and would be much more sort of focused on trade, and he wouldn't overdo it. He said asset prices are not overpriced, which should calm these markets just a bit. I know that we're off the lows of the session, but still down about 308 points. Ben Bernanke also said a couple of other things that should calm everybody down. He said the world seems to be doing a lot better and that the U.S. banking system is stable and, quote, solid. But when asked about why aren't we seeing the markets get shakier when these quite frightening headlines sometimes, depending on what they are, come out, and he said markets are very blasé about risk until that very last second. Well, then he was pushed by Eric Schatzker at Bloomberg, who was doing the interview. What about the volatility index? It's near, what, 24-year lows? And he said the VIX sort of calmness is puzzling to him. And then it was sort of, well, what's going to be the next problem? It's very hard to tell what the next derailment is going to be and what will spark the next recession, Ashley. But he said, look, these are hypotheticals, but watch the shadow banking system and the commercial real estate market cycle. He said those things are on my radar. He didn't focus exactly on what part of the cycle, but I found that interesting. And he also said that statistically, expect another downturn within the next 4 years because we always get it. But Ash, what's great for us here is that we've got Sam Zell tomorrow. He is the largest real estate investor on the planet. We're going to have him here on the show tomorrow, right here from SALT, and we'll ask him about that commercial real estate cycle. Mark Mobius of Templeton Emerging Markets Group, he'll be discussing with us. If you're too nervous about the U.S. markets, don't worry about it. I've got you covered on the emerging markets level, and he will name names of which countries he likes right now. Plus, Robin Leach, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. He'll be joining us on Friday, too, from the SALT conference. But fascinating because you had a bunch of hedgies here, Ashley, sitting on the edge of their seat listening to Ben Bernanke make these rather sort of out there comments that he doesn't usually do. No, it's nice to see him loosen up a bit in Vegas. And Robin Leach, I haven't heard that name in so long. Don't know why. Yeah, I love Robin Leach. All right, Liz, thank you very much. Great stuff as always.